Hi there. Please go to the link in the description to see which product these reviews are about. All the reviews are read one after the other without pauses. Let's begin. I researched these systems for a few weeks, on Amazon and talking to my plumber and associates at Lowe's/H.D, and finally decided on this system. For starters, this system is packed very well and arrived to my home completely intact. I was impressed upon opening it as the main filter housing unit seemed very high quality and heavy. The unit ships with a filter in each of the 3 compartments as well as an extra set of filters, excluding membrane. Whether this system is easy to install or not is obviously subjective depending on factors such as your previous experience with basic plumbing and/or your particular location for install. I decided to install mine under the kitchen sink and also ran a separate line for the refrigerator's ice/water line. More on that in a bit. The included faucet is satisfactory and works better than I thought it would. You can push the lever down and hold it if you just need to fill a glass, or you can flip it up until it locks in and it will continually dispense until you turn it off. Another neat thing about it is once you bolt the base of the faucet down, you can still swivel the entire neck around, so you could, for example, fill the dog's water bowl with it sitting on the kitchen counter next to the sink if the sink is full. The finish of it is a shiny chrome, and it matches my new molten stainless faucet well enough. However, I may replace it in the future if my wife, requests it or if the mood strikes. You will need to drill 1/1/2 hole to mount the faucet. I couldn't find this info anywhere prior to ordering the system, but I was very happy once it arrived. Some of these faucets require a 1/2 hole, and that would concern me because I have a synthetic granite/composite sink that is tough as nails to drill into. If you need to drill into granite/marble, get a bit such as a Lennox diamond tip hole saw bit, 1/2 bit. It will cost you about $20 and you can buy it at the big name blue or orange home improvement stores. Tip: once you locate where you want the faucet mounted, get a thin piece of wood, such as a shim, and drill a 1/2 hole in it. Then get some duct tape and tape it onto your sink where the hole in the wood is directly where you want the hole for the sink faucet. Then drill through the hole in the wood into your sink's surface. This will keep your drill bit from dancing or walking on the surface. Also, take your time. This is a crucial step and you don't want to screw it up. The key is using the proper drill bit for your application. In my case, it took me a good 10 minutes to drill through my sink, probably a 1/4 thickness, and the bit was completely useless once I got through the surface. In other words, I just made it. Also, don't be afraid to get an eyedropper or baster to drop water in the hole as you're drilling. It will help your bit to not burn up so fast. Once the hole is drilled to your liking, follow the illustration for assembling the hardware for the faucet and mount it. The actual hookups and plumbing for the system is where I kinda did my own thing. I have a 2,200 square foot ranch that was built Indiana the 80s with that nasty, defective polybutylene plumbing, and, after a ruined master bath and another close call in the kitchen after owning the house for just 6 months, I had my plumber completely repiped to the tune of $5,000. So I guess what I'm saying is I am not fond of cheap plastic ice maker line, or the plastic inserts or nuts. The good news is because all of the fittings on the system are 1/4 inch connectors, you can use the fancy braided chrome ice maker lines with the compression tips that would normally go behind your refrigerator to hook up most of the system. If you decide to do this, the only one you won't be able to use one on is the yellow line that goes from the RO unit to the tank, because it has a crimped-on special 2-way valve. One word of caution though: if you do this, be very careful and mindful that you are screwing a metal compression connector onto plastic threads on the unit. My advice, in hindsight, is to determine where you are going to want the unit and place it there prior to beginning the install. Then determine what lengths of lines you will need, and hopefully you will only have to screw the hoses onto the unit one time, as opposed to screwing a 5 feet hose on the unit only to realize that you only needed a 2 feet hose and then having to unscrew the connector. If you want to incorporate your ice maker line, you will need a 3-way female 1/4 T connector, one for the fresh RO water coming in, and then 2 lines, one for the RO faucet and the other for the ice maker. Bottom line is, take your time. If you do, you will love the result. It took me longer than it probably would have taken most people, but I have a unique kitchen sink with funky plumbing, couldn't use 1/2 adapter included to feed system from faucet bottom, instead had to convert down to 3/8 and run from cold water valve. Oh yeah, the water tastes amazing. I would be the first to tell you if I didn't think it tasted good, but it is phenomenal. I am a coffee drinker and the coffee tastes so much better. It also tastes better than the bottled water that we buy. It's like the water has absolutely no aftertaste. It's just pure H2O. Feel free to email me at mcneil2348@yahoo.com if you have questions or want to see pics of my system in action. Good luck. Update. The system has been in now for 2 weeks and we're very impressed. My wife, who typically drinks Coke or sweet tea, is literally drinking 2 to 3 large cups of this water daily. She absolutely loves it. I went to a Mexican restaurant last week with my boss and ordered water with my meal, which is what I always drink, and I noticed immediately how horrible their water tastes now. I never noticed it before until I started drinking the APEC water. As far as reliability goes, I have not had any problems or leaks with any component of the system, and we are using it rather heavily. We also have a baby due in 9 weeks, so we're looking forward to making baby formula with this great water, too. 5.0 out of 5 stars. ppm measurements, replaced existing system in 30 minutes, amazing. I bought this system to replace the pre-installed water filter in my new home. The builder's system was installed by a local company. Filters are proprietary and $125 to $150 per pair, every 6 months. Instead of paying that much for a 2-stage filter replacement every 6 months, I looked for alternatives. I decided on the APEC after the glowing reviews and built in USA tagline. What isn't immediately clear is that only 3 of the filters in this system need replacing every 6 months, for around $25 in total. The other 2 only need to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. Not bad in my opinion. It took me only 30 minutes to install the system, as I already had the extra drinking water faucet installed, 1/4 tubing, and quick disconnects. The only thing I had to install was the drain valve, by drilling into my wastewater pipe. When you do this step, it's imperative that the hole drilled lines up well with the wastewater clamp hole. After drilling the 1/4 hole into your PVC drain, I recommend holding the clamp with one hand and inserting the 1/4 bit through the clamp hole and PVC hole you drilled. Tighten the clamp with the included screws and then remove the 1/4 bit. This should leave you with a perfectly aligned wastewater clamp. After the clamp was installed, the rest of the process took about 10 minutes. I set up the entire system and slowly restored water pressure back to the system. I waited just over 2 hours and drained the water tank as described. Here are my TDS measurements in ppm. Tap water, 270. Builder's 2-stage system, 217. Fridge filter, 170. Azarca natural spring water, 28. Smart water, 22. APEC water filter system, 8. Yes, that's 8. It does take up quite a bit of space, but not as bad as I was thinking and certainly well worth it. This system fits underneath my sink along with the Mega InSync Carator Evolution XL, with room left over for cleaning supplies. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Excellent system made in USA, one of my best purchases all year. I purchased this system 1 month ago, and although I had to become a contortionist to get under the sink to install it, the installation instructions and process went smoothly. I can tell you though, the Teflon tape is key, don't forgo it or you'll have to deal with leaks. The water quality is excellent. I can tell you, we normally buy bottled water and put it in the fridge, but I can drink this right from the faucet. It is indeed very good water. For example, with a previous per water filter installed on the faucet, the water tasted okay, but if I let a glass sit on my nightstand overnight and drank it in the morning, it would develop an aftertaste. Not the case with the APEC system. That glass of water tastes the same the next morning as when I first filled the glass. It is like bottled water. I am impressed and glad I made the purchase. Big factor for me, made in the USA, and they have US technicians manning the phones I called to verify something before the system arrived, an American voice on the other end. Big plus. I will pay extra for a US made system any day, especially a high quality system like this one. I'm tired of us building the middle class of other countries. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Great tasting water. No more carrying 40 pounds water jugs. What we don't like about the filter is that it wastes 3 gallons for every gallon you get, just goes into the sewer. We love the convenience of not carrying heavy water containers. The taste is amazing. Here in Las Vegas we have hard water. We have tried other water filters without the success we achieved with this filter. To us it's well worth the money spent. We bought a TDS meter to test the water. Results: faucet tap equals 328 ppm. Aquafina bottle water equals 2 ppm. Kirkland, Sam's Club bottle water, equals 20 ppm. And the APEC water equals 25 ppm. Hi there. Please go to the link in the description to see which product these reviews are about. All the reviews are read one after the other without pauses. Let's begin. I researched these systems for a few weeks, on Amazon and talking to my plumber and associates at Lowe's/H.D, and finally decided on this system. For starters, this system is packed very well and arrived to my home completely intact. I was impressed upon opening it as the main filter housing unit seemed very high quality and heavy. The unit ships with a filter in each of the 3 compartments as well as an extra set of filters, excluding membrane. Whether this system is easy to install or not is obviously subjective depending on factors such as your previous experience with basic plumbing and/or your particular location for install. I decided to install mine under the kitchen sink and also ran a separate line for the refrigerator's ice/water line. More on that in a bit. The included faucet is satisfactory and works better than I thought it would. You can push the lever down